Okay, I want you to picture something for a second. The year is 2004. You're in Orange County, California.
Right, which, has a certain reputation, the Orange Curtain, as they call it.
Exactly. It's this bastion of conservatism. So you're there, you pick up a free newspaper, an alt weekly called the OC Weekly.
And we should probably explain what an alt weekly even was for anyone who, didn't grow up with them.
That's a good point. It's not like today's media landscape.
Not at all. Basically, you had the big, serious, paid newspaper, and then you had the free alt weekly. It was kind of the rebellious younger sibling.
A little gritty, funded by ads for local bands and futon shops.
Totally. And editorially, they were where you found the stories the big papers wouldn't touch. They had an attitude.
So you're flipping through this paper, and you land on a column with a title that feels, well, it feels like it's designed to start a fight.
Yeah.
It's called Ask a Mexican.
I mean, even saying it now, it has a certain charge to it. In 2004, in that specific place, it was just radioactive.
And you'd think, okay, this is a joke. This won't last a month. And you'd be half right.
That's the amazing part. It was a joke. It was literally designed as a one-time spoof.
And instead, we're here doing a deep dive on how that one-time spoof became a syndicated cultural phenomenon, won major awards, and then ended in this dramatic principled stand.
It's an incredible story. So our mission today is to unpack that whole journey, the rise, the paradoxical acclaim, the fall of the industry around it, and finally, the resignation.
It's a story about free speech, media economics, and intellectual property that every single creator should hear.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. You said it was a spoof. How did that even come about?
Well, Gustavo Arellano was a staff writer at the OC Weekly, and he pitched this idea, basically, as a way to satirize the racial tensions simmering in Southern California.
Just poke the bear a little bit.
Exactly. The premise was simple. Readers send in any question they have about Mexican-American culture, stereotypes, you name it, and a persona, the Mexican, answers them.
It just sounds like a recipe for disaster on paper.
It could have been, but the execution was key. He wasn't just being offensive for the sake of it. He established a very specific format.
Right. The sources say he'd answer 2 questions a week, but the tone was explicitly politically incorrect.
And that started with the opening line, his signature,
Dear Gabacho.
Dear Gabacho.
Every single time. We should probably define that for people. Gabacho isn't exactly a term of endearment, is it?
No, not traditionally. It's Mexican slang for a white American, sort of like gringo, but maybe with a bit more of an edge.
So right off the bat, he's setting a tone.
He's flipping the entire power dynamic. Usually, the expert voice in media is the white voice explaining the other. Here, he's saying, no, I'm the authority, you're the outsider, sit down and listen. It was brilliant.
And because it was framed as a spoof, he could get away with so much more.
He had cover.
Yeah.
And people, they just loved it. The column went from a one-off joke to the paper's most popular feature, like, overnight.
But the questions weren't just fluff, were they? It wasn't all about, why do Mexicans like tequila?
No, and that's the Trojan horse of the whole thing. It started with some of that, sure, the silly stereotypes, but it very quickly got serious.
Like what kind of serious?
Like deep questions about illegal immigration, about labor disputes, about complex class issues within the Mexican-American community.
So people were using this satirical column as a genuine forum for some of the most heated political debates in the country.
They were. And Arellano would answer with this mix of biting humor and actual factual history. He would hide the medicine in the candy.
Which brings us to the part that I still can't quite wrap my head around, the award.
Yeah, the critical acclaim.
When I hear about a column that intentionally uses racial slang and pokes at stereotypes, I don't immediately think award-winning journalism.
You'd think canceled, right? But this was a slightly different era, and the recognition he got was staggering. Let's just run through the list.
Please do.
Okay, so in 2007, he gets the President's Award from the Los Angeles Press Club. That's a big deal. The National Hispanic Media Coalition gives him an Impacto Award.
Okay, so he's being recognized by both mainstream and Hispanic media groups.
Right. And then in 2008, the California Latino Legislative Caucus, we're talking actual elected officials, they give him the Latino Spirit Award.
Wow. So politicians are endorsing this supposedly politically incorrect column.
It just shows that they understood he was doing something much deeper than telling jokes. He was forcing a conversation that needed to happen.
But there is one award here that just seems like the ultimate paradox. The Association of Alternative Newsweeklies gave him Best Non-Political Column.
Twice.
Twice. How is a column tackling immigration and labor policy non-political? That makes no sense to me.
Well, that's the beautiful irony of it, isn't it? I think it shows how the media establishment defined politics at the time.
How so?
If you weren't writing a stuffy op-ed about tax brackets, it wasn't considered politics. Because Arellano was writing about culture and using humor, they filed it under lifestyle.
Even though culture is probably the most political thing there is.
Of course it is. He was probably shaping more opinions on immigration than half the political columnists out there, all while being classified as a humorist.
The satire was his passport to get into these serious topics without people's defenses going up.
Exactly. And that success naturally led to expansion. In 2008, Scribner's publishes a book collection, also called Ask a Mexican.
He goes from newsprint to hardcover. That's a major step.
It is, and the syndication numbers really tell the story. At its absolute peak, the column was running in 39 different markets across the country.
39. So from one paper in the OC to nearly 40 cities.
It was huge. You could be in Denver or Houston and pick up the local alt weekly and read Dear Gabacho.
So 2008 feels like the high watermark. He's got the awards, the book, massive syndication. But the media business is, it's brutal.
It is. And the story of the column from that point on perfectly mirrors the story of print journalism itself.
The Great Collapse.
The Great Collapse. If you look at those syndication numbers, it's a terrifyingly steep graph.
The source material mentions an interview he gave in 2017 where he talks about the death of journalism.
Yeah, by that point, the number of papers carrying the column had dropped from 39 down to around 12.
From 39 to 12, that's more than 2/3 of his reach just gone.
It's devastating. And he even joked about needing to do a new census just to figure out where he was still being published. But it wasn't because people stopped reading the column.
Right. It was because the papers themselves were dying.
Exactly. The business model of the alt weekly was built on classified ads, and then Craigslist came along and just wiped them out.
And Facebook finished the job on the ad revenue side.
So you have this vital, important piece of commentary, but the ships carrying the message are sinking all around it.
It's such a bleak picture of that time. But the story doesn't just trail off into nothing. It ends with a bang, not a whimper.
It really does. It ends with a specific moment, a conflict that says everything about the guy behind the column.
October 13th, 2017, Gustavo Arellano resigns. But it's the why that matters. This wasn't about money or a better job.
No, this was a moral stand. The owner of the OC Weekly at the time came to Arellano, who was the editor by then, and gave him a directive.
And that directive was what?
Fire half of your staff.
Wow. Just like that. Look at your team, pick half, and show them the door.
It's an impossible position for any leader to be in, but Arellano's response was incredibly simple. He just said no.
He refused to do it.
He refused, and when they insisted, he chose to resign himself rather than fire the people who worked for him.
That takes a level of integrity you just don't see very often, to basically fire yourself to protect your team.
It's a profound ethical choice,
Yeah.
And it cemented his legacy, but it also created a huge, messy problem. He walked out the door, but what happened to his column? What happened to Ask a Mexican?
Right. Can he just take it with him? Go start a Substack the next day.
He could not. And this is where we get into the really important lesson about intellectual property.
Okay, break this down because it's a distinction a lot of people get wrong.
So Arellano wrote the words. He owns the copyright to the individual articles he wrote, but the newspaper, the OC Weekly, owned the trademark.
And the trademark is the brand name itself.
Exactly. The trademark is the name, the logo, the brand identity. Ask a Mexican was considered a product of the paper. They owned the title on the box.
So when he left, the name had to stay behind.
It did. He built this persona, this voice, this national brand from nothing. And the corporation owned the nameplate on the door. It's kind of heartbreaking.
It feels like a story you hear with rock bands all the time. The singer quits, but the label owns the name of the band.
It's the exact same principle.
Yeah.
He made it clear in interviews, they own the trademark, but they don't own me. They don't own my voice.
So could the paper have just hired a new Mexican?
Legally, they probably could have tried. But in reality, no way.
What?
Because the brand was him. His specific voice, his knowledge, his humor, it was so unique. Any replacement would have been seen as an imposter instantly. The readers would have burned the place down.
So the trademark, the brand, becomes effectively worthless without the creator behind it.
Precisely. The paper held the legal document, but he held all the actual value. It's a fascinating standoff between corporate ownership and creative identity.
It really is. So let's just recap this wild ride. A one-time spoof from 2004.
becomes an award-winning, nationally syndicated column that actually shapes conversations on major issues.
Its distribution network then collapses as the newspaper industry implodes.
And it all culminates in 2017 with an act of defiance where the creator walks away on principle, leaving the trademark behind but taking all the actual value with him.
What an incredible story. It really forces you to think.
It does. It leaves you with this kind of provocative thought about identity and property.
Which is what?
Well, if a company owns the trademark to a persona, but the creator owns the voice, the talent, and the soul, what is the brand actually worth without the human who gave it life?
A question every creator should probably be asking themselves. A great place to leave it. Thanks for this deep dive.
A great pleasure.
We'll see you next time.